What's going on, guys? This is No Pop Allowed, the ultimate hero, whatever. I am going to do a quick, or I don't know, actually it's not going to be quick, I'm not even going to say that. I'm going to do a probably long review of the G6r right now. This is pretty much off the cuff, I'm just kind of going for it here, so we are going to see how this goes. No tripod on this video, we're going to see if I can just pull it off with camera in hand, and here we go. Just so you guys know, there's no preparation here. I'm just kind of winging it, and we're going to see what happens. Okay, excuse any language in here. I don't know, I'm rambling. So, this is the packaging. This is what you get with a bob long gun. You can see this picture on here may even be a Mark 6 or something. I don't know, a mark of some kind. Got a velocity. That's definitely circa 2007 or so. Same box that they use for every gun. And there's the friggin' awesome G6r. There you go, you guys have seen this. I don't remember if I showed the packaging before, but anyways, there's the gun. Still matte black, still pretty cool. Looking back at the packaging, you can see the cutout here of what seems to be a protege for Vice. So they use the same foam even. That's great. Alright, that's out of the way. And looking inside, of course, we have the barrel. Fits nicely in this little padded thing. There would be a bunch of other stuff in here. I didn't keep it in the box. But I did keep the box, and I used the box as a case because, look at that, no case here at all. So, anyways, here's what you'll get in the box. I got an Odoshi manual. There is no manual for the gun itself. This is just a manual that Tadao made sure that was in here so we could actually program the board. There is no manual in this box for your gun. All that comes with it from Bob Long is this invoice here. I really hope I didn't show any important information there. No, it doesn't look like it's going to matter. Anyways, this here is your little certificate card thing that every gun, I believe, from Bob Long will have, showing the settings that they decided to use through their testing and a couple of chrono shots. I found personally that these settings work fantastically, so don't expect anything much. That's pretty much it. That's honestly what came with my gun, except for you know, a couple of other items that were stuffed in there, but you know, that's essentially it. So here's the review. The gun. I'm going to start off by saying it is still rocking. It is absolutely fantastic. I have played with it, I'm going to say about 6 times total. And I think I've put maybe 4 cases of paint through it total. So, you know, some people will say, yeah, you're going to need to put 10 cases plus to get your gun totally broken in and to really know what's going on. I feel prepared to do the review. I wouldn't say that the gun is completely 100% broken in, but I don't feel like wasting a bunch of time. I think it's a good time now to do the review, seeing as not only do I feel like I have the data to support, you know, any opinions I have, but I also feel like right now, being almost Christmas, is a good time for people to learn. If they wanted to hear anything about this gun, I wanted to let them know now. So either if they could get one, you know, tell their good friend or whatever, hey, this is the gun I want for my freaking Christmas present, if you have super rich friends. Or if you're like a 12-year-old kid and you have some rich parents, you know, let them know. Or if you're like me and you get, you know, a little bit of money during Christmas, you're going to use it to buy your gun. So maybe after Christmas you'll buy this. Anyways, sorry if I'm fidgeting around a lot. So, let's see, I'm going to do the same sort of thing as I did with my review, or my overview. But this time I'm going to have a little bit more insight, seeing as I've obviously put some more time into the gun. And we're going to start right down here again, the ASA. This was actually a heated topic because of my last video. Because I was wrong. I'll be the first to admit it, I was definitely wrong. I said that it was not purging, and it is. And I definitely was fair to say that it wasn't purging because it didn't purge. So the problem is, it seems like the piston in here, I don't know, it's either a slightly odd design that doesn't work quite as the way they wanted it to, or something like that, but what I found was the best thing to do is, you see this screw in the bottom. This set screw actually makes it so that you can't unscrew this thing all the way, like it stops right there. But if you take that set screw out, you can actually take this piece, this plunger thing, right out. And what I found is if I took out this screw, I had my air tank screwed in here, and I screwed it in and got the air turned on, and then totally backed it out, and even past where it would stop here, it'll actually allow the air to degas. So I did that like 20 times, and after that it started to work at this, stop point instead of having to go past it to get it to work. So that's what I did. I don't know what other people might have done. Ooh, it stands there. Cool. Sorry. Anyways, I don't know what other people might have done, but that is, I don't know, that seemed to work for me. And I didn't use the gun for a couple weeks. You might notice that I've had the gun for a while now, but I've only gone with it 6 times. Yeah, I've been kind of busy for the last little while, and so I missed a few opportunities to play with it. Oh man, there's going to be so many sexual references in here. Sorry if you're younger. Anywho, yes, the last time I used this last time I used the gun was last night actually, and I tried to turn off the gas, and I turned it all the way and stop, and the air wouldn't go out. I find that if it doesn't work right away, if you just give it a quarter turn in, quarter turn out, it will degas itself. But it seems like since I let it sit for so long, it didn't want to work correctly last night. I don't know. The ASA does work really well when it is actually working well. It works really nicely, but it's not really that big of an issue to me. I will be able to get it to degas no matter what, whether it degases there or I have to kind of give it a turn in and out. It will degas. It's just maybe not quite as smooth as some other ASAs I've had in the past. So the grips are fantastic. Better than any other Bob Long grips as far as I know. The full wraparound grips feel good. And there's another sexual reference. Okay, anyways, trying to stay on track. They are very comfy. But I would say they are pretty much on par with most guns of today, where, they're pretty standard. Compared to like the Borg I had before this gun, they're very, very similar. So they're very comfortable. I still, even though they use 3-hole system in many grips, where there's 2 on the top there, 1 on the bottom, I don't even see the point. In most cases, at least. Like, the 2-hole systems seem to work really well, but I don't know. The trigger. I talked a lot about the trigger, about the fact that it is not very adjustable. That still is completely true. It is not very adjustable. All you can really change is the length of pull, and you can only change it through the rear stop. You can't even change the forward stop on the trigger. It just stops where it's supposed to, or where it is. So personally, I'm not really a fan of how unadjustable it is, but I gotta say, the way that it's adjusted out of the factory is actually pretty good for me. I like the length. The length is almost perfect. And actually, I don't know if I changed it at all. I might have tweaked it a little bit, but I was able to get it to a pull length that I was okay with, but it's really not at a resistance I like. After using it as many times as I have, and I play semi exclusively, so after all that trigger time, I have gotten pretty much used to it, and I am okay with it. I can get away with it. It feels fine. I don't really think about it, so that means it must be good enough, right? So I guess I'll just say I wish it was more adjustable, but it's not. And I'd say for most people you'll be okay with it, unless you use some kind of crazy setup where you have like extreme amounts of resistance, or you use a setup where you have I don't know, like super light trigger. Then you might have some trouble with it, but I'd say it's pretty good where it is, at least for what I like. Anyways, the board. I did a board video separately, so if you watched that, you would know that the board is fairly simple, fairly easy to use, and I definitely like that. I would have to say, even though there's so much hate about this board, I like it. It works perfectly fine for what I need to do. Like I said, I play semi. Pretty much exclusively I play semi, so I don't really care that it doesn't have 3-shot. I mean, there's definitely a few features in this board, or that are missing from this board, that you can get in lots of others. But, as far as an easy board to program, a board that has really the essentials built in that are easy to access, I have nothing bad to say. For my needs, honestly, I don't really need much more. I guess what I would like is a screen, you know, an OLED screen, an LCD screen, whatever, you know, have one at the bottom here or whatever. But it's a luxury that not only doesn't exist, it won't exist for this gun, as we have heard through Will himself. It just doesn't fit. Plain and simple, you can't fit a screen in here. Unless Virtue does something crazy and figures out how, I don't think it's going to happen. So, the board is going to stay an LED board, and I'm okay with that. For the amount of times I change my settings, which is almost never, it works fine. Last night I actually wanted to change the dwell to try and get my eigenram to work, and I was sitting at the chrono, I'm thinking, man, I don't really want to go and find my manual. I just went into program mode, changed the first mode that I thought was dwell, and it worked. So I gotta be proud of that. Pretty simple. Let's see, let's talk about the bolt for a second. I have nothing to say about it. Okay, now that that's clear, no, but what I actually want to say is, I haven't broken very much paint. I talked a little bit about the fact, I'll pull this out again, talked a little bit about the fact that the front of this is chamfered. You can kind of see it. This doesn't really focus very nicely, but the very front of the bolt you can see is all kind of, you know, not 90 degrees. It's got a chamfer on it, if you know what I mean. The thing is, it's not going to break paint as easily, so that's a plus, and through all that paint that I shot, yeah, it broke paint. I'm not going to lie. After that much paint, yeah, it's almost impossible to use a gun, no matter what gun you have, and not break paint using it that much. And I'm not saying that I used it a lot. I'm just saying that usually if you've put a few thousand rounds through your gun, it's gonna break paint. It's got to happen once somewhere in there. Whether it's because the paint is brittle, the paint is broken before it gets in the gun, whatever. Something in there something will happen to make a paintball break. So I'm not going to say it was perfect. It definitely didn't break a lot of paint. No matter what paint I used, which was, I pretty much used one type of paint. Mostly, what do we use? I don't have a box here. But we use Draxis, it's custom paint actually for our field, so it is pretty good stuff. It's not the best by any means. The gun doesn't break paint. I mean, it will. If, you know, something bad's going to happen, eventually it'll break paint, but it's definitely not a blender by any means. It does a good job. The eye system works really well, and that bolt face works pretty well. It has good detents. Intimidators have always had good detents, and you know, just the pressure that it works at, the operating pressure, and the overall impact that it's putting on the paint is probably pretty good compared to a lot of other guns out there. So it's good on paint, from my experience. Next, I'll talk a little bit about the regs here. One huge thing with Intimidators, and actually any bob-long gun, is get a pressure tester. Honestly, it will be absolutely amazingly helpful. And, I mean, honestly, it's not something that you're going to use every single time you go to the field, but you want to be able to do this. Because if you're using the stock setup, stock RAM, stock pop-it, everything like that, then if you set it to these settings, and they might be a bit different from gun to gun, but I'm assuming most of the time it's going to be 175 and 75. If you set it to those settings, the gun is going to shoot 280, and you don't even really need to worry about it. It's going to be nice and efficient, it's going to shoot nice, and you don't have to bother with it. So if you take off these regulators and you give them a clean and you don't know where you want to set them, you're going to have trouble if you don't have an LPR tester. I'm just saying. And the regs are very easy to maintain, very reminiscent of any other Bob Long regulators. No matter what gun you're thinking of, it'll, you know, it's very similar. And it works quite well. So, I don't know, very easy to adjust. I haven't had any problems with them. I do like the extended length in this one. I'm sure a lot of sexual references will be made here, but the shorter, stubbier thing that they had on the Victory when it first came out, I thought it looked kind of odd. It didn't look like it'd be all that comfortable, but the actual size of this one is quite nice. Oh man, that sounds odd. Anyways, then we'll move on to the feed neck here, but looks like my battery's going to die. Hold on. Alright, so I was just about to talk about the feed neck here, and I talked about it a little bit in the original video, the overview, and I said that this arm is a little bit short, and I will continue to say, yes, it is a little bit shorter than some of the others, but, you know, again, it's not really going to be much of an issue. Same with the thumb wheel thing, how there is just, you know, an Allen wrench in there. If you needed to adjust the feed neck, you know, grab a tool. You can still, obviously, turn this separate, but if you wanted to, you know, make sure it was precise to fit another hopper, go ahead and do that, but you're probably going to be using one hopper, right? So it's not very likely you'll ever have to change this, or if you do, you'll only have to do it once and it'll be set. But yeah, no big deal. It's pretty simple to get on and off, so whatever. I'm sure you could get more leverage with a longer lever, but whatever. It's not really going to make a difference. Let's see. So the barrel that should come with most G6Rs. If you don't ask about it, they will probably come with a 685 from the factory, which is what this one is. Mine had come with originally with a 691, I believe, and the reason that happened is actually just because I didn't specify anything, and they still had a few of them left over from a different run of, I don't know, something. So they put that in there because I didn't even ask about which barrel I had. If you saw my Bob Long customer service thing, you'll know why I ended up getting both barrels. But this is the smaller one. It seems to work perfectly. In my opinion, I do like one-piece barrels. Obviously, with this setup, you're not getting a two-piece barrel like you would in, you know, whatever other guns. Lots of those higher-end guns are going to come with two-piece barrels. But yeah, in this case, obviously, a one-piece barrel. I like one-piece barrels. I've used one-piece barrels a lot, and they're kind of my personal preference for a barrel because I like to think that this whole barrel is a control bore. I don't think it actually is, but you know, I'd like to think that this whole thing is a control bore, and you'll feel, you know, I feel like it's more accurate because it's a control bore. But no, I don't know. I just like one-piece barrels personally. Obviously, you do have the disadvantage that you won't be able to just buy a back. If you want a different size barrel, you'll have to buy an entire different barrel. But I don't know, 685 right now I think is almost the perfect size, and at least for the paint that I have. It's probably different elsewhere. I've heard that some of the paint, like in the States and stuff, is really small. My paint is just a slightly underboard with this size of barrel with a 685. I've been using my Lurker barrel occasionally, but 678 is dang small right now for the paint that we shoot. So it was great for pump because I wouldn't get rollouts at all. Like that ball is not going to be moving down that barrel no matter what. So it was good. But since I don't have my pump gun anymore, I don't get as much use out of the Lurker barrel as I do something like this, which is a very good bore size currently. And I don't know, I like their barrels. I think it's pretty flashy. I've heard that they are pretty good. And I've used it myself, and I'd say it's pretty good too. Alright, so let's see. The ergonomics of the gun, I talked about how it feels in hand, and at first I really liked it, and I still really like it. It is very comfortable. Like I said, the grips are really nice. The extended reg is very comfortable as well. This room here, some people I'm sure will utilize it, some people won't. I don't think I usually do, but I'm sure in some situations I do actually use this extra space here. I kind of like the way it's set up. I haven't talked anything about having no macro line. Personally, when it came out of the box, I had the same feelings as now. It's really not all that important to me. It's kind of cool that you don't have those fittings and stuff, so it looks a little bit cleaner and all that, and you don't have this macro line getting in the way, but I never really noticed macro line, and I don't really notice not having it. And on to looks, the fit and finish of the gun was amazing out of the box, like I said, and it continues to be. Very, very nice looking gun. The anodizing is absolutely flawless. The milling is absolutely flawless. You know, all of the parts look absolutely perfect, even after using it a few times, which means, you know, they didn't do a real shoddy job or anything. Everything has continued to look and, you know, perform exactly the way it did when it came out of the box. So, still a beautiful gun. You can see, you know, very nice lines for the trigger guard there. I like that. I like how it sort of is a throwback top tube to the Vice. If you can see the way it's milled, it looks very similar to a Vice in the top tube there. And then, of course, it's got the G6R emblem, which I'm sure you can't even see. It's getting in the light there. And yeah, so Looks good still. One thing I totally forgot about the trigger, this out the front trigger removal. It is actually very nice. In my opinion, I actually heard of a few people that didn't like it. I don't know. I guess what I think about it is it's nice to be able to remove your trigger out of the front. It is. You know, you don't have to take this frame off. You don't have to try and pull it out of the top of the frame or something. It just pops right out. You undo this little screw here, and this trigger will pop right out of the frame. And I think people, the problem they had with it was getting the trigger back in. I'm not gonna lie, it is a little bit difficult. But if you have any mechanical skills, you know, if you're a decently smart person, you should not have any issues at all getting this trigger back in. It literally is not a very tough thing to do. It's got a little bit of a trick to it because the spring has to be seated in there correctly, but I don't find it a problem. I think I've only done it about once or twice, but I haven't had any problem with it. So, still good, in my opinion. Let's talk about some bad things. There's really not a whole lot of bad to say about it, I gotta say. I'm a little disappointed by the break-in sort of weird thing with the ASA. I'm still disappointed with the adjustment of the trigger. One thing that you will definitely notice if you get this gun and you have to maintain it is the ram cap. Believe it or not, this ram cap is a little bit of a, you know, yeah, it sucks. And the reason being is the O-ring that they use to seal it. This is not a circle. You can see that. Obviously, it's not a circle. So that means if you use a circular O-ring on there, it's not going to fit very well, and it doesn't. So when you take this out, you know, to do regular maintenance, you pop out your bolt, you pop out your ram, and then you put it all back together, and you're trying to put this cap on, and the O-ring gets pinched in there every single time. No matter what, it will. Honestly, I bet you every single person that owns a G6r right now is saying, hell yeah, that happens to me. I gotta say, that's annoying. And every time that I put this ram cap on, I grab the Allen wrench that fits that, and I grab the smallest Allen wrench in my set, and as I'm putting on the cap, I just grab that small Allen wrench and have to sort of push it through the groove here on either side to make sure that the O-ring is actually getting seated correctly, instead of being pinched and just destroyed. I didn't destroy the O-ring or anything every time that I've done it. It's survived, but it's annoying. I'm not gonna lie, it is annoying. Let's see, overall. Oh, you know what I should really do is, I'm gonna weigh this gun. I'm gonna pull some Tech PB stuff. I don't have the scale. Okay, so let's get this gun on here. Okay. Oh, wait. Let's turn this on first. See, can you even see this? Oh yeah, that's gonna work. Okay. So, zeroed out. Okay. Put that gun on there. It's not sitting on the edges anywhere. Oh wait. Oh, I better turn on the battery for all those punks on the internet. Okay. Everybody, it is 838 grams. I'm sure really nobody on the internet cares about grams. Oh, it just changed. How the hell is that possible? 840 grams, apparently. 1 pound, 13.6 ounces. I don't know if that's good. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to compare this gun to probably the industry's cutting edge of lightweight guns. I'm pretty sure most guns in the market are actually compared to this guy here. So just a sec. Oh, wait. Haters on the internet. Better turn this on so everyone knows there's a battery in there. Get at me. Alright. We're looking at 3 pounds, 4.6, 4.7, I mean, ounces. I mean, in general, this gun is quite light. I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh, this didn't have a barrel. That's not gonna be fair, is it? Whatever. Yeah, so this is a pretty light gun. No joke, it is quite light. I think compared to my Cyborg, it's a tiny bit lighter. I guess I don't really remember what my Cyborg weighed out at. I may not have even measured it. But anyways, it's a light gun. Very light. And it's very well balanced. It feels really good in hand. From my experience, it has really been everything that you would need in a gun. Which brings me to the finalization, you know, the conclusion, what everybody really wants to hear. Essentially, after using the gun as much as I have, which honestly isn't isn't that much, I've used it for about 4 cases of paint, which is the best way I can describe it. After using the gun for that many shots and using it on the field, I have to say it's very good. I'm not going to give it a rating out of 10 or something. Maybe it's, I mean, yeah, I'll rate it 12 rainbows out of 14. To be honest, it is quite good. The gun itself shoots absolutely amazing. It's very good on paint. The shot itself is absolutely amazing. And every time I shoot it, it feels, you know, you got it in your hands, you walk out on the field and you take a few shots, and no matter if it's, you know, the first game of the day or the last game, you still feel like, damn, this thing feels amazing. It is a great feeling gun. Overall, just an amazing shooter. The efficiency is absolutely astounding. If you are using it in stock configurations and you're using, you know, a good paint-to barrel match, I currently have an LP Ninja tank. It's not the SLP, but just, you know, an adjusted Ninja tank down to low pressure. You know, it's got amazing efficiency. Better than my Cyborg, definitely. I didn't think it was going to be that much better, but it is, you know. I'm not going to say that the video where you're, you know, shooting 20.5 pods or whatever with this gun is what you should expect, but I'll say this. On a day where I shot a case of paint, I would say I probably refilled the gun once, and that was on 3K fills. So that'll give you an idea. It's a gorgeous gun. It continues to look gorgeous as long as you're taking care of it. I took care of this gun. Yeah, I used it. I'm not BSing you guys. I used it. But it still is in great condition, and I think you can expect it to stay in pretty good condition because of the quality of Bob Long's construction. You know, it's a well-built gun. It feels good in hand, and it has not let me down in any way. Every time I've tried to, you know, every time I pulled the trigger, it shot a paintball. At least whenever it was supposed to, at least, you know. One thing I just really need to add here real quick. I'm editing the video right now, and I just wanted to add this in here. This gun is $850, brand new. You're buying it straight from Bob Long, or brand new from any store, it's $850. So, this is the packaging you get with an $850 gun. This is the barrel you get with an $850 gun. And this is the gun you get for $850. And, you know, when you compare it in value to the Egos, the DMs, you know, all that other stuff up there in the 1K plus, you're actually getting a pretty good deal. You don't get the flashy packaging, but you get a gun that is absolutely in the same category as an Ego. It is in the same category as a DM. It's in the same category as a Geo, as a Cyborg, or a Droid, or no, not Droid, Clone, or anything else up there in the upper realms, the Angels and whatever else people have nowadays. It's up there. So keep in mind, you're getting a marker that is totally competitive with those guns for much less. And that's really what draws me towards this gun. That's why I was able to buy it new. If you've never owned a new high-end tournament gun, this is probably the one to go for. If you think to yourself, I can't spend $1,500 on a new tournament gun, you know, maybe you can spend half of that. So keep that in mind. Anyways, yeah, it's a good gun. I totally recommend it. That's probably about it. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you like this kind of impromptu video, throwing it all together here. I'm sure I missed some stuff. There's no way in hell that I would get through an entire video like this without doing some kind of dumb thing where I don't know, miss some important information or whatever. But yeah, I mean, if I was going to compare these two guns, I don't know, they're both pretty good. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video here. Just kind of throwing it together. Hopefully it wasn't too shaky. If you don't like this kind of review, I'm sorry. I kind of had fun making it, so you might see more of this kind of video in the future. Thanks for watching.